Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, and entertainment. And we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a great show for y'all, man. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So Rich Paul recently made some headlines for some of the things that he had to say about Michael Jordan's sneakers, right? Where he essentially tried to explain what made Jordan so popular, and he said that some of it had to do with the fact that drug dealers made his shoes popular. And I'm like what are we doing, right? And a lot of people came for him and was like, yo, what, like what's up with this dude, man? Why are you doing this? Like, you coming off looking like a hater right now. Like, that's what a lot of people were saying. Like, yo, son, you looking like a hater right now, bro. Like what are we doing, right? So people called him out on that. So apparently he heard that, what people had to say about him, and he decided to kind of respond to it. And during his response, he actually ended up doubling down, believe it or not. He actually ended up doubling down on his position and made it worse, because now he started talking about people like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence started to make Michael Jordan shoes popular. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me at this point, man. You gotta be kidding me. So for those of you who didn't hear what Rich Paul had to say, I want you guys to sit down, get your popcorn ready, listen to everything that he had to say here, and I'm going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to Rich Paul.
So for the visual learners, we have Brand Jordan, or Michael Jordan at this time. Michael Jordan had two really great partners. One in Nike, of many, but these are two I chose. And the other one in Gatorade.
Okay.
Now, from a marketing perspective, they told two of the greatest stories. Nike, Air.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I can fly. If you put these shoes on, they had people jumping off garages.
Rich, I had a pair of Jordans, like the Jordan 3s. You never saw someone with less hops than especially me at 13 or whatever, getting this high off the ground with my tongue out of my mouth.
Did you feel like you can fly?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, I did.
From a Gatorade perspective, it was the fuel to win. And it was Gatorade that created the lullaby, like Mike, if I could be like Mike. Exactly, right?
Had the whole world trying to be like Mike.
So what's the importance in those two things? Not only is it the product of hydration, the product of footwear, etc., it's also the media spin that they to really push these campaigns. They're pushing it. And at a time where we didn't have social media, people didn't have computers in their house in abundance, there wasn't much. You had sports, and he was at the forefront of it, right? Then you have the NBA. Like all eyes on me, all eyes on Mike. It was clear. It was him, and it was everybody else.
Yeah.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's the other thing. This is one that it's a little touchy.
What timing crack epidemic? What does that mean?
Yes, because the timing, not just the crack epidemic, but also hip hop. When you think about the first influencers were guys like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What shoes did he wear?
This is getting back to what you said, and you used me as an example because I was sitting in front of you. You said it's not that Michael Jordan did this, it's that the influencer who had the BMW or whatever you said, like Max with the fly girl and the BMW. So you're saying
what
that
I was saying was the hustler was the influencer in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
Especially in the black community.
In the neighborhood, the crack epidemic wound up concentrating wealth in a few people who could floss in front of the neighborhood.
Because these people had basically not even careers or high-paying jobs. They just had hustles. So now when you bring forth the crack epidemic, it created a revenue stream amongst a group of consumers that, number one, would have never had that dollar to spend, and they damn sure wouldn't have had it to spend excessively. So when you
And you're saying because crack was more accessible, cheaper, et cetera, it had a different effect than, say,
No, I'm saying
heroin,
that-
which because it's not like the drug trade wasn't always there.
But that was a different time. In the 70s, people wore shoes and suits
Right.
and pants.
Not jeans and sneakers.
In the late 80s and 90s, people wore sneakers. So now when I'm talking about the timing of it, not just the actual being able to the excessiveness from a dollar, right? Because you're creating this dollar, but at the same time, it's also the thing of choice, the actual thing of
because
choice.
the idea of like social media influencer,
Yes.
is like what you're saying is pre-social media influencer. There were still social influencers. They just
Martin
weren't.
Lawrence.
There just wasn't any social media.
And then when you talk about what they call product seeding or product placement, what they did extremely well was every guy who was somebody on a show, they placed the product. So you couldn't see it on Instagram. So where'd you see it?
TV.
Oh, I saw in this episode of The Fresh Prince or this episode of Martin. And then you heard it in the music. Oh, and then on my way to school, I not only saw, because many people wasn't seeing the games. The Bulls played on WGN, by
Right.
the way. And it wasn't like
I
you
could
had all
watch the
these,
Bulls if it was nationally televised or if they played the Knicks. That
That's
was it. Yeah.
because your local feed,
Yeah.
right? But I did get to see, in my case, my Uncle Lance or Bernard Sawyer, just different people that in my neighborhood that had. So now I'm influenced by that, and I love Michael Jordan. So now I want, not only because Mike is wearing them, but I also want them because these guys are wearing them too. And when you created that, that's how he created the greatest athlete brand ever, because Michael Jordan didn't share the market. He controlled the market. There's a difference between the two. Most athletes have a market share. He controlled the market. So much so, when people had children, they bought, my little cousin came home in the booties,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
This
Jordan's-
has been things for generations. And what happens is the I-95 is what they call the Gold Coast of footwear.
Great. So you heard what he had to say. I just feel like what these dudes is doing is so dirty. It's so greasy. Like, it's just so greasy to me. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems so desperate. It just seems so desperate to me. Number one. Number two. Michael Jordan and what he did on the court drove the hysteria around his shoes and his brand. If MJ wasn't doing what he did on the court, there would be no Jordan. But you can't market mediocrity. You can't promote. You can't. If that were the case, if it was just as simple as, oh, let me just market him like this and this and that, then you could market anybody. And if you look at in the modern day where we have social media, which is prevalent, which was not prevalent then, it would be much, much easier to replicate the effect that Michael Jordan had. But what we see time and time again is that we can't. Let me put it to you in these terms. Michael Jordan outsells LeBron, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant's shoes by himself every single year. I'll repeat that once more. Michael Jordan outsells Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and LeBron James combined every single year without a social media presence. Do you see Michael Jordan on Instagram? Do you see him on Twitter? LeBron has 200 million followers between Instagram and Twitter. I don't know how many Stephen Curry has and all of these other guys have. You have all of these apps and all of that stuff. He doesn't have any of that. But why? So how come he still outsells them? Because the images that Jordan left in the minds of fans around the world are indelible. Michael Jordan has fans all over the world. People that don't even speak English are fans of Michael Jordan because of what he did on the basketball court. And MJ wasn't like a talker. So it's not like as if, I really became a Jordan fan and a basketball fan because of the things that Michael Jordan said. No, it's what he did. And what did he do? He won 3 championships in a row, 6 in one decade after taking a year off, 2 three-peats in the same decade, plus scoring titles, MVPs, finals MVP, all of these different things. That's what drove the Jordan brand and the Jordan shoe. That's what made Martin Lawrence and Bad Boy say, I want to be like Mike. That's what made Jordan who he was. That's what put Michael Jordan in rap songs by Biggie and all of these other guys. Were there not any other NBA players playing at that time? Wasn't Barkley playing? Wasn't Ewing playing? Wasn't Hakeem playing? Wasn't all of these cats playing? So why didn't they do the same thing if it was just up to marketing? If it was just up to him? And they've tried to replicate it. They did the same with AI. Allen Iverson, when he came out with the Reeboks, they was doing commercials with Jada Kiss and all of that. Yo, they did it already. Jordan set the blueprint, but everyone has fallen short. And to say that it's because of Will Smith, no. You got it reversed. It's what Jordan did was so incredible, it caused them to want to be like Mike and rock bald heads and all of this kind of stuff. It was because of him, not the other way around. You can't market your way into that kind of into those results as an NBA player. You can't. Because with all of the marketing dollars that we have today, all of the mechanism that we have today, the machine. So why aren't we doing it today then? If it was that easy. It just, to me, this just comes off as desperate. It just seems very, very desperate to me, if I'm being honest with you. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comment section. We'll catch you guys on the next show. Peace.